Welcome to the Negombo Sri Lanka vlog. We just left off from Colombo and set off for Negombo, which is just north of Colombo and very close to the airport as soon as you land in Sri Lanka. We checked into our lovely villa, Jhony Villas, which we had our whole villa to ourselves. This was a private kitchen area, dining area, lounge area, and then a shared pool, which was directly outside of our front door. So you say the lounge area with a sofa, TV and an extra desk space. Then it was a 2-bedroom, but because we booked the 1-bedroom, this door on the left was locked. But then in on the right is our very large, spacious double bedroom, lots of storage space, a little desk and chair for working, ideal for me, and air conditioning, which is a must in Sri Lanka, especially during the hot season. And then the ensuite bathroom, which was also extremely large, and they seem to love sage green in Sri Lanka. It seemed to be a theme when we went on our travels, but very large walk-in shower, sink area, and just everything you needed, especially for we were staying for 4 nights here in the villa, and it was only £20 per night for this entire villa, which would be £10 each split between me and himself. But we went to check out Negombo. A lot of questionable stores with similar names, this lovely Tesco store. Then we headed down to Negombo Beach to Ocean 14 restaurant, which was directly looking onto the beach and the sunset later on. We went for a walk and just checked out the sights and the lovely palm trees and coconut trees. After our romantic stroll along the beach, we went for some Sri Lankan food at Ocean 14 restaurant, which is quite famous for its seafood, although we did not have any. He opted for the Sri Lankan curry, which is always a spectacle when it comes out, and I had kottu, which we had too many of going forwards in Sri Lanka, but a very tasty Sri Lankan dish if you're in Negombo. Then the next day we decided to head out for breakfast and grabbed a tuk-tuk. This only cost like 80 pence for the tuk-tuk into the town, and we headed to Cafe Zen for some avocado toast. It was a very pet friendly restaurant. There were lots of dogs, lots of cats sleeping around, which I loved, but it is very tropical and outdoorsy, a lot of plants, a lot of greenery and a lot of flies. So we didn't actually come back here because although it was really nice, there were just a lot of flies everywhere around your food, coffee, drinks, which didn't make for the best eating situation. But himself had the pancakes and I had some avocado toast with scrambled eggs, and it was lovely. Then we didn't really get up to much in Negombo, I will say. It was a lot of time just in the swimming pool, working on our laptops, doing some YouTube editing. This is my Nashville vlog, and planning the rest of our trip around Sri Lanka, because we were kind of planning as we went. But yeah, didn't get up to too much. It was more just to relax and enjoy the beach, enjoy the sunsets. Negombo sunsets were unmatched, and to enjoy some good food as well. For dinner, we came to Jude's upstairs restaurant, which is again by the beach. There was someone up in this tree cutting down some coconuts, but this ended up being one of our favourite restaurants, and we tried a lot from their menu. These are the noodles with some seafood, and himself went for the traditional kottu, but we came here so many times, obviously when we came back to Negombo at the end of the trip as well, but definitely one of our favourite restaurants, so would highly recommend if you're in Negombo. Today was my 27th birthday, so we decided just to have a very perfect day in Sri Lanka. I woke up and read my Kindle, out by the pool, very relaxing morning, and then we headed to breakfast at a new cafe that also became our local spot. We ate here so many times. This is Boho Cafe. I had a smoothie bowl, himself had the Turkish eggs, which wouldn't be the best thing I'd recommend off the menu, but they have the best maca, and probably the best maca I've had in my entire backpacking travels, so we had to come back. This is the outside, but a really nice cafe, lots of food options and great Wi-Fi as well for working. These are the footpaths in Sri Lanka, so they're just slabs of concrete on the side of the road, which aren't the most secure or safe. Himself decided to avoid them most of the time. But we headed to Jhony Food, which ended up being our cheapest meal, and they had dolphin on their menu, which is quite questionable, but I think they meant tuna. But we had some kotu and a great view of the sunset, and it was the cheapest meal but also one of the tastiest meals. I had some noodles, himself had the kotu with cheese, and it was really, really tasty and just in a good setting, and definitely one for the budget. Morning, we are in Negombo and we're about to go out and see the lagoon and see fish market and different things in Negombo today. We're just waiting on our tuk-tuk, because we have and then we'll head into Negombo and go for a little walk, but it's very, very hot. We headed to Negombo Fish Market, which is one of the main things to come and see. This is them laying out all the fish to dry in the sun, which is quite cool. But came to the fish market and it absolutely stank, as you can imagine. But there were a lot of people haggling, shouting, fish being gutted, and just interesting to come and see this way of life in the market on a weekday morning. But just be warned that it absolutely reeks. So the centre of Negombo is definitely different from where we're staying up at Negombo Beach. It's so busy, chaotic, very city life, lots of shops, lots of people going around. We milled around in the sun. Himself got some shorts stitched for I think £10. So cheap. But we were very glad to leave the chaos and head back to the beach and have some breakfast back at Boho Cafe, or my favourite mocha of all time. We had some better food today and we're able to sit at the window and people watch. Himself went for the club sandwich and I went for the pancakes, which I'd seen on their Instagram, and they did not disappoint. Look at this absolute masterpiece, it was so tasty. And we headed back for some chill time at the pool and just to relax. That night we tried Lord's restaurant, which was one of the highly recommended ones on Google, but I will say it is the most expensive. It's very westernized, it's a cricket themed restaurant, really nice inside. There was live music as well, so it's a nice atmosphere, but it was definitely the most expensive meal when we could have had local food around the same area for a lot cheaper. The next morning we were leaving Negombo to head off on our actual travels around Sri Lanka, but we had some very nice avocado toast and another mocha to hit the road from Boho Cafe before we were on our way to Sigiriya. But at the end of our travels, we came back to Negombo, we came back to the same villa, and we had a little rest and recuperation for a few days before we headed on to our next country and just to end our time in Sri Lanka. So we got off at the wrong train station from Colombo. We tried to be budget friendly and take the train, ended up at the wrong station, so had to get a tuk-tuk, and this sky was not looking very promising. It looked like we were about to drive into a very huge storm, and so we did. It was chaotic and just lashing out of the absolute heavens for the whole drive. Our poor tuk-tuk driver was getting soaked. We headed to Jude's upstairs restaurant. Like I said, this was our favourite. We came here every night then after for some great curry and some deviled chicken, and it is so tasty. But basically every day it was very relaxed, very chilled. It was reading in the pool at Boho Cafe to work on our laptops and try basically everything on the menu. This was one of my favourite meals. It was like a Turkish salad and it was so tasty with falafel hummus, and just chilled on the beach most evenings for sunset. Again, back to Jude's upstairs restaurant for more deviled food. Himself had the kotu again, but we ate here every single night and ate in Boho Cafe every single day. Loved Negombo, such a chill area. Would definitely go back because it is so cheap as well, but if you want somewhere just to chill out, work for a few days, our villa was the best thing ever with pool and the beach so close by. Would definitely recommend it. But thank you so much for watching this video on Negombo, Sri Lanka. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments, and I will see you in the next vlog when we get to Sigiriya and onwards to Pinawala and the rest of our trips around Sri Lanka.